Phil Steele Plus tour with selections. Another winning week last week. Let's keep it rolling. I've got some more free plays for you today. We'll take a look at a few FCS games. We'll take a look at NFL games. We'll get to FBS games. Cover it all for you here and show you how to use Phil Steele Plus to its best during the year. Now, as always, this time of year or this time of the week, I'm looking at next week's games right now. So I was just looking at the Ohio State-Michigan game. I don't know if you guys know, a pretty big game coming up next week. Auburn, Alabama, Ohio State-Michigan, rivalry week next week, Thanksgiving week. It's a fun football. Enjoy it while you can, guys. Believe it or not, only 3 weeks of the college season left, regular season. We got bowls left still, but wow, this season went quick. All right, let's start with the FCS. We're going to go to FCS team pages here. Got a couple of games that I found interesting. Didn't really know much about the teams, but once again, last night when I was prepping for this, I discovered a few things. So a couple of teams, Davidson and Drake. Very interesting here. Drake is the visitor, so let's go get Drake over here. And once again, I have them in alphabetical order, and I always put the visiting team on the left. Drake's nickname is the Bulldogs, and they are taking on Davidson. And once again, Phil Steele Plus makes you an instant expert on these teams right off the bat. Everything is color-coded green and red. Green, as you can see, is good things. Red, not so good things. And here's what I came upon for this game. Now, Davidson is playing Drake. Davidson's a 1.5-point favorite. Davidson's nickname is the Wildcats. They're a 1.5-point favorite here. When we line the two teams up side by side, the first thing I wanted to point out is that in conference play, we break this down just like we do for the FCS. Take a look at conference play. Davidson is averaging 450 yards per game on offense, 308 on defense. They are plus 142 yards per game. They play in the same conference, so that is in conference play. Meanwhile, for Drake in conference play, they're only plus 50 yards per game. So right there, you'd have to say, hey, advantage goes to Davidson. They're only 1.5-point favorite, and they're at home. Take a look at the average game grades. Davidson playing to an average game grade of 52.4 this year. Drake, 41.6. That right there says when you add the two together and add in the home field edge, Davidson should win this game by 10.8 points. Look how they've been playing the last 3 weeks, though. The last 3 weeks, Davidson, defense, 245 yards, 257 yards, 233 yards. I like the way they're playing defense. They've won all 3 games, won the last 2 convincingly, and they are plus a boatload of yards. 292, they outgained Butler. 247, they outgained Stetson the last 3 weeks. Meanwhile, for Drake, their last 3 weeks, if you add them up, they're averaging 367 yards per game on offense, but unlike the 245 that they're giving up here the last 3 weeks, Drake has given up 431 yards per game the last 3 weeks. And look at these average game grades, 35, 35, 35. They're playing at a 35 level. They did have a 36 here, but 61, 62. So the average game grades the last 3 weeks have Davidson winning this thing by 21. My computer is Davidson winning at 32-21. The yards say Davidson 435 to 282. And once again, Davidson's a 1.5-point favorite. And they did not play. Yeah, they did not play last year, so I can't really go back and look at that. So add it all up, I just think we have a team that's playing better right now. Taking a look there, they're better in conference play, and everything pointing to Davidson winning this thing by more than a field goal. They're only laying 1.5, so get them while they're cheap. Take Davidson minus 1.5 over Drake. Now, back when I started handicapping, the Ivy League was actually part of the main rotation. So I used to handicap Ivy League games all the time. Sort of miss handicapping Ivy League games. Don't really follow them all that much. But we're going to take a look here at a game this week. It's Cornell and Columbia. Columbia is on the road, so I'm going to put them on the left, the Columbia Lions. We're going to put Cornell on the right. And once again, we got a cheap line here. Cornell is -2 at home. So I like to take better teams at home, laying less than a field goal. That's our theme for this week. And wow, look at this last game. Cornell just beat Dartmouth 20-17. Now, if you haven't been following the Ivy, I have been looking at the Ivy a little bit week by week as I go through these. Dartmouth is a pretty powerful team. They were undefeated. They were at home. They were playing Cornell. And there was nothing fluky about the game. as you can see, Cornell had a 17-14 first down edge. Cornell outgained them 384-298, and they beat the best team in the Ivy League, Dartmouth, 20-17 last week. So Cornell showed me a lot in that particular matchup. So we go back here to Columbia. So despite the fact that Cornell has only got 3 wins this year, both teams have 3 wins. Very impressed with that win over Dartmouth last week on the road. And by the way, look at this. At Penn, they lost by a point, but they had a 434-263 yard edge, 24-11 first down edge. So this is a Cornell team that's playing pretty doggone good right now. And they're at home against Columbia in their season final. Got to think they'll be playing with a little bit of advantage here. Now, also look at conference play. Cornell is plus 20 yards per game. Columbia, minus 76 yards per game. So I like that. That's saying that Cornell's a better team and they're better in conference play. And in conference play, if you take a look, the average game grades show you 49.1 for Columbia. How about Cornell? 57.9. So the average game grades say Cornell by 11. Take a look at the last 4 weeks. Once again, this is all the FCS teams we have updated just like the FBS. So everybody says, Phil, can you put out an FCS magazine? Well, guess what? There's just not enough people buying FCS magazines right now. But you get even better than an FCS magazine here because you get all this information. Like this is Columbia. You could go back and take a look. It's color-coded green and red, how they've been doing since 2011. Color-coded in green and red. You've got the complete history. You've got the individual stat leaders from last year. You could click right on that and see how they did game by game for the players last year. You can see Leinart here took over at the end of the year as the quarterback. Excuse me. And so all this available on every FCS team. We're going to have individual stats, by the way, updated for the playoffs when they start. So if you won't know anything about the FCS team, the playoffs are starting, you can do all your homework right here. And you can get Phil Steele Plus right now. If you type in the code word winners, you can take $5 off. Now, Phil Steele Plus for college, that's FBS, FCS, and NFL, regular $69. Now we're into the season, so it's down to $44. Type in the code word winners, it's just $39. If you just want the FCS, Phil Steele Plus FCS team pages, it's regular $29. We've dropped it to $24. Type in the code word winners. It's $19. All you have to do is go right here to the philsteele.com store. When you go to the store, you can type in the right here on the page, click on Phil Steele Plus and just sign up. You can see it's $44. You can also get the FCS only, which is right here. FCS Plus, or FCS only, $24. Type in the code word winners, take $5 off of that, and sign up today. Now, remember, if you sign up to my newsletter inside the press box, you get Phil Steele Plus for free. So that's a nice little perk to have as well. But if you just want to sign up for Phil Steele Plus and have the access to the same stuff that I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars making this site for myself so I can become an instant expert on any team in the FCS or FBS. I mean, you just scroll over and get it. Look at this price. $19 for the FCS, $39 gets you FCS, NFL, and it's all there. So anyway, let's go back to this game. Take a look at it, and we're on Columbia and Cornell, and click on Cornell once again. See what else we got here. And Columbia, by the way, take a look how they've done on the road this year. They've lost by an average of 16 points per game. They're minus 163 yards per game on the road. So add it all up. I think we got a nice play here. My computer's got Cornell winning 24-14. It's got a yardage edge of 399 to 254. And guess what? They're laying less than a field goal at home. So it almost makes them seem like Columbia's a better team. I think Cornell's a better team at home laying less than a field goal. I think Davidson's a better team at home laying less than a field goal. Davidson and Cornell are your FCS plays. So now I've showed you how to use the FCS part of this. Let's show you how to use the NFL part of it. And, yeah, we got NFL updated. It's a little niftier here on the NFL. We got the logos updated. We're going to take a look at Atlanta taking on Tampa Bay this week. Now, Tampa Bay's on the road, so we're going to put them on the left. And this is how I do my matchups on every game for the upcoming week, for this week. And you just line them up side by side. That's the beauty of Phil Steele Plus. Don't forget that code word winners. Get yourself $5 off. And we're going to take a look at Atlanta over here. Now, The last 5 meetings, you can click on here and get the last 5 meetings. So let's look at Atlanta against Tampa Bay. And as you see, Atlanta has won the last 4. They've actually won the last 5 because in 2016, this was the first game. That was the second game. So in 2016, that's a win. Atlanta has won 5 in a row. And if you take a look how Atlanta's done at home, they won and covered against Tampa. They won and covered against Tampa. So they've won the last 2 at home. So the series says Atlanta is the better team. Now, I like how they've been playing as well. Let's first of all take a look at the defensive edge that we've got here. And defensively, if you take a look at the last 4 weeks, Atlanta's only allowing 340 yards per game. Look at this, 322, 310, 347 the last 4 weeks. Meanwhile, over here, the last 4 weeks, they're allowing 371 yards per game. So I think with Atlanta, we've got the better defense. In fact, look at the last 4 weeks. Atlanta's allowing 19 points per game the last 4 weeks. Tampa Bay is allowing 32 points per game. So we got the better defense with Atlanta. Now, better run game? I would say the better run game is equal. Both teams have a lot of red in the run game category, so I'm going to call that equal for the run game. Now let's take a look at the last 3 weeks for Atlanta. They played Seattle. They had a 512 to 322 yard edge against Seattle. That's impressive. Seattle's one of the best teams in the NFL. They went into New Orleans and beat them 26-9 with a 24-18 first down edge. They went into Carolina. Carolina's been playing really good football. They beat them 29-3. So those are 3 very impressive wins against 3 very good teams. Yeah, Atlanta's basically eliminated from the playoffs, but they haven't quit. So I like that. And they've got the better defense. Last 3 weeks over here, they lost to Seattle, got outgained by them by 74 yards, played a weak Arizona, beat them by 3, played New Orleans and lost to them by 17. So they're not playing great football right now. And then, like I said, the run game you put equal. The defense goes to Atlanta. How about the quarterback? Am I going to take Matt Ryan, 69% with an 18-9 ratio, or am I going to take Jameis Winston with a 60%, 19 touchdowns, but look at this, 18 interceptions for Winston. That's not a good number. Both teams have explosive receivers. So better defense, better quarterback, Atlanta. Atlanta's laying 4. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons, -4 at home. Playing good football. They're in better sync at home over Tampa Bay. And, you know, when you use the site, you can see the individual player stats are updated for you. This tells you how each player is doing. Remember, Matt Ryan even missed that Seattle game. And so let's see when Winston's interceptions, what he's been doing lately. 4 interceptions, 2 interceptions, 5 against Carolina and London. He has been an interception machine. So you've got the individual stats for the NFL. You can go back on the NFL and once again, red and green all the way back here. Take it all the way back to 2009. You can get red and green updates. So it gives you, all this is at your fingertips when you use Phil Steele Plus. All right, let's get to those FBS games, the regular college football games. Click on my FBS. I got them in conference, or everybody knows the conferences for these. First game we're going to look at is what I'm going to call my Inside the Press Box game, and it is going to be North Texas at Rice. So we're going to put North Texas on the left because they're the visitor. We're going to put Rice on the right because they're the home team. Now, if you look at this game and look at just the wins and losses, North Texas has 4 wins. Rice got their first win of the week. Naturally, you'd say, hey, I want to go with North Texas. But I like Rice, plus the 6.5. And it's an Inside the Press Box game. And we'll take a look at Inside the Press Box this week for this. And one quick note about Inside the Press Box. It's my weekly newsletter. 8 selections this week, by the way, in the college football. Last week I had 8 selections. They went 6-2. And we've got this big discount here, Steele 19. You can get it on philsteele.com. You can go to InsideThePressBox.com. If you type in the code word Steele19, you get $20 off any subscription to Inside the Press Box, 50% off this week's single issue. The single issue price, $20. Now, Inside the Press Box for college, there are 3 issues left. So the current price, $59, but type in the code word Steele19. You get it for $39. That's a $20 discount. Same thing with the NFL. $79 for the rest of the regular season. That takes you through 6 full weeks of action. It's $79. $20 off is $59. That's type in the code word STEEL19, InsideThePressBox.com or PhilSteele.com. Either way, sign up for Inside the Press Box. You want to get it through the Super Bowl, college, and pro. Great price there, just $129. And remember, all Inside the Press Box subscriptions get you Phil Steele Plus for free. So if you'd like to get my newsletter, I got 8 big plays up for you this week. Just go to InsideThePressBox.com, type in the code word STEEL19, and take that discount. Now let's take a look at this matchup, though, and show you what Inside the Press Box is. We'll bring up the page here for you. I've got 2 press. This is what the full one reads. This is your full Inside the Press Box page. You get this on every game, every breakdown, all these stats. Now remember, the individual leaders here that we show, this you can get on Phil Steele Plus. So we're going to take that out next year because that's available on Phil Steele Plus. If you want individual leaders week by week, just click right here. And it gives you all the individual leaders week by week. You can see how the players have done. Running backs, as you can see that, Trey Siggers had some good games, missed a couple games, but he's back here. Invaluable when you want to follow along how the players are doing on a week-to-week basis. That's all available on Phil Steele Plus. Also on Phil Steele Plus, by the way, last 40 years results. Well, North Texas, not a great team. Rice will be a good team to look at. Let's take a look at the last 40 years results for Rice. You go back to 1976. You've got this at your fingertips. So if you're ever wondering, hey, when's the last time this team was a 30-point dog? You've got it right there. And once again, these 40-plus pages, they give you since go back to 2006, I believe it was. Well, half times go back to 2004. You can get half times on the game. So here they lost to San Jose State 70-63. They led that game 34-28 at the half. They led this one 28-3 at the half and won. It shows you all the half times are invaluable. And then remember, they didn't really have college totals back in 1996. They started them here, and that's when we started tracking them, was 2003. So 2003 on, you can get college totals on every game. You'll see back then you had a lot of 40s, there were 30s and 50s. Now it's mostly 50s and 60s for college totals. They've really gone up. Look at these number differences as opposed to back then. Different game of football with the hurry-up offense. But all that's there. We take a look dwell into it a little bit here. My press box score of the game, my computer's only got this North Texas 30, Rice 29. Here's my complete write-up on the game. I give you this on every single game. I typed that in personally. It's a complete write-up on every game, and then here's the score forecast on it. So once again, Inside the Press Box, don't forget to sign up for that. When you sign up for Inside the Press Box, type in that code word STEEL19, $20 off any subscription, 50% off this week. There's your prices. But let's get back to this game. A couple things to look at. Let's take a look at North Texas's road games in CUSA. Last year they went to UTEP and won by 3. They lost at UAB. They lost at Old Dominion. They beat UTSA by 3. So they did not win a single CUSA road game by over 3 points last year. This year's road games, lost to Southern Miss, lost to Charlotte, lost to Louisiana Tech. So 2 years, they haven't won a CUSA road game by more than 3 points. I like that. My computer has North Texas winning by 1. I like that. And then you take a look at the fact that North Texas's defense in conference play gives up 60 yards above what opponents allow. Rice's holds opponents at 26 below. You wouldn't think that for Rice. They're a 1-9 team, but they actually hold their opponents to 26 yards below their season average. So that's nice. You got the defensive edge with the defensive home dog. Right, and then let's talk some technical angles here. North Texas 1-9 against the spread when they're on the road. And how about Rice on Senior Day? 10-1 straight up in their final home game. Let's go back and take a look at some of these. They beat Old Dominion 27-13. Now here they did lose to North Texas in their final home game, but final home game, and once again, these are color-coded. If they won the game, it's in green, so at a glance, you could see whether they won or lost. Beat UTEP, final home game. Beat Charlotte, final home game. Beat UTEP, final home game. Beat SMU, final home game. Beat Tulane, final home game. 10-1 on Senior Day. So add it all up. I like Rice plus the 6.5 over North Texas in that game. Let's take a look at a MAC game now. And we're going to take a look at Kent State and Ball State. Ball State's a visitor. We're going to slap them up on the left. Kent State's a home team. We're going to slap them up on the right. And let's break it down. And you do this on every game. It's really remarkable with Phil Steele Plus. All right, so the home team has won 6 in a row in this series. How do I know that? Well, when you click on the opponent down here, that gives you the history. You got the 22-year history. It's on every single game for FBS. You've got the history. Same thing with the NFL. We showed you the history there. And over here for the home team, the word win means that the home team won. So as you can see, the home team has won 6 in a row. They're 4-2 against the spread. That's what the color means. If they covered, it's in green. If the word win is there, that means they won the game. And so as you can tell, the home team has won 6 in a row in the series. That's nice because we got a home dog. They're plus 3.5. I like how Kent's quarterback is playing. Dustin Crum hitting 68%, 15 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. Team's leading rusher. So that's a big plus there. They are off an upset of a powerful Buffalo team. Buffalo's very good. Strong rush offense. Came back, got the win. And field goal on the last play. We got some momentum. Kent's coach has them at 4 wins. He'll have them believing they can still get to a bowl game. So I look for an enthusiastic Kent State team. They got Ball State this week. They got Eastern Michigan next week. They got a shot at a bowl. They are going to be enthusiastic. And I also want to show you this. Early in the year, they played at Arizona State, at Auburn, at Wisconsin. They took some big losses here. So when you look at their stats for the season, they are minus 96 yards for the season, Kent is. But in conference play, they are plus 17 yards per game. So I like the fact that they're actually a better team than their record would indicate because 3 of their losses were to these 3 really good teams all on the road. And in conference play, they're outgaining opponents by 17 yards per game. So it's an underrated Kent team that's believing in itself, that's getting 3.5. Ball State has lost its last 3 games, as you see here. I'm going to take Kent plus the 3.5 over Ball State. And before I wrap it up with your last one, I do want to remind you that right here, the Phil Steele Plus Tour, we've got this on, I put it up Wednesday and Thursday as well. I've got 2 more free selections over there. So I've given you 6 on this one. You get 2 over here. That's 8 free selections. The tour is outstanding. It's absolutely free. And also, I want you to remember to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. So do make sure you subscribe. That helps keep it free. Share it by all means. Give me a like if you like it. I'm sure you will. We're putting out a lot of information here. And make sure you hit the bell. Then we let you know whenever the next video's up. So after you watch this one, make sure you watch out the Wednesday one. It seems like about half the people watch the Wednesday one, yet I got a lot of great information up there. So there's great information, and you get yourself some free plays. Make sure you check that out after you check out this one. And please subscribe. Please hit the like. That keeps everything for free here on the YouTube. All right, let's get to that final game now. And we're going to take a look at Coastal Carolina. And they are playing UL Monroe. UL Monroe is the home team, so we're going to put them on the right. Coastal Carolina is going to be on the left. So let's go click over here to Coastal Carolina. And let's line them up. All right, here's what I found on this game. Now, first of all, let's talk technical. And once again, you can go get the scorebook. We talked about that at the start of the year. The scorebook gives you all the angles. You can look it up in the magazine. We've got there. If you look in the magazine, you will see that Viator of ULM is 2-10 against the spread as a home favorite. So a very poor home favorite this year. Not this year. Overall, very poor home favorite. And meanwhile, Jeremy Chadwell of Coastal Carolina, he is an outstanding away dog. How about 6-2-1 against the spread as an away dog for the Chanticleers? So you got to like that. So overall, you've got a poor home favorite, a great away dog. Now, for Coastal Carolina, the thing I like, click on the individual player stats. I'll move it over here so you can see it. Fred Payton was their starting quarterback. He got injured. I like the way Bryce Carpenter's playing. He's got a 7-1 ratio. But Payton did return last week, as you see. So they've got both quarterbacks available. Their starter is back. Carpenter's back. So this is a Coastal team that's back to full force at the quarterback position. That's a positive. And last week, you remember here, I picked against them with Arkansas State. They led that game. In fact, when you click here on box, that gives you the box score. You can see how it went. Arkansas scored a touchdown with 32 seconds left in the game to pull out a 28-27 win. Look here, Coastal had a 23-15 first down edge. That surprised me because Arkansas State's a really good team, and I thought they were going to win that. So Coastal was impressive last week. They beat Troy a couple of weeks ago, 36-35. They only lost to Georgia Southern by 3 on the road. They only were outgained by App State by 37 yards on the road. Heck, they beat Kansas on the road 12-7 this year. So this is an underrated Coastal team that's great as an away dog versus a poor home favorite. They did very well last week against Arkansas State. And here's a matchup I like as well. When you go to the individual player stats, look at their running back, C.J. Maribel. Maribel's had 300-yard games, 95 here, almost another 100, and that was against App State. He had 142 yards last week against Arkansas State. I bring that up because it put him on your fantasy football team this week. ULM, look at their rush D. Wow. They are giving up 254 yards per game, 5.7 yards per carry. Only one game was not in the red. So I look for Maribel to have a good game. They got both quarterbacks back. Great away dog versus a poor home favorite. I'm going to take Coastal Carolina. Plus the 6 over ULM. ULM's got a big game, their rivalry game against Louisiana on deck. So a lot of good things pointing out here for Coastal. They impressed me last week. I went against them last week, and they impressed me. So I'm going to go with Coastal Carolina plus 6 over UL Monroe. Final thing I want to mention to you, do make sure you follow me on Twitter. I update all the injuries for you. You just scroll down the line. If there's a guy that's injured, not going to play, I've got it up here. At Phil Steele 042, I keep you posted, all the latest injuries. If there's a unit that you didn't know about, I put it all in here. So check it out every day. They're posted at Phil Steele 042. Once again, give me a subscribe to this YouTube channel. Keep it free. Appreciate you being here for the Phil Steele Plus Tour with selections. Let's hope it's yet another winning week this week, and I'll be back with you on Wednesday with your next update. Thanks for taking the Phil Steele Plus